Hey family, warmest of welcomes. Welcome back to Underdogs Rise podcast. The podcast where we rise together as a family. Today's episode with myself, Christopher Griffiths, will be discussing rebuilding trust with yourself without shame and without having to start over. I'd just like to say I'm really happy that you're all here with me. Because if you're listening to this, there's a chance you've been beating yourself up a little bit too much lately. Maybe you've stepped back into an old habit. And maybe you've stopped showing up the way you promised yourself that you would. And maybe you just feel like I've messed it up. And let me tell you, I've been there, and I've been there many, many times. In fact, before my recording of this today, I have said that. But I want to say this to you clearly, right from the start, and before I continue. You haven't failed. You haven't lost anything. And you don't need to start over. You just need to come back. And you need to come back to yourself. See, why we lose trust in ourselves, and myself included very much in this. See, I used to think for a long time that I used to lose trust in myself because I was weak. And that's not true. The real reason, the real truth, why we lose self-trust is when we make promises to ourselves and we break them. Or we make promises to ourselves that don't actually fit who we actually are in that moment. We set expectations from our ideal self and then punish our human self, our current self, for not keeping up. But self-trust isn't built through perfection. It's built through repair. And just like any relationship, trust grows when you show up after things go wrong. Not with blame, but with honesty. The moment you say, okay, I slipped, I messed it up, I made a mistake, I failed. What do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? What is life? What am I wanting to do now, in this moment? That's where trust begins to return. Take a pause with me. Take a slow breath in. Exhale fully out through your mouth. Ask yourself, where have I been judging myself instead of understanding myself? Let that question land. And then ask yourself, what would it sound like to speak to myself with patience instead of pressure? And allow that to soften something within you. And whatever arises first, that may be your intuition communicating to you, whispering to you. See, there's an art to gentle repair. And here's something powerful. You don't rebuild trust by making big promises. You rebuild it through small, believable actions. Because your body will always know when you're lying to yourself. And your body will react before your mind does. So these believable actions, not I'll never do that again, but today I'll take one step back towards myself because I matter. That might look like getting back to your routine gently, saying no when you usually say yes, taking a walk instead of spiraling, and being honest about how you actually feel. Repair doesn't require motivation, it requires kindness and consistency. And every time you follow through, even in a tiny way, your nervous system learns, I can rely on myself again. Ask yourself, what is one small act of self-trust that I can practice today? I'll ask that again. What is one small act of self-trust I can practice today? And then ask, how can I make that commitment so small I can't fail? Allow it to be doable and allow it to be real. Let's integrate this together, family. If you would please gently close your eyes. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold. And as you exhale, let it out fully out through your mouth. Imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror. Not to judge, but to reconnect. See yourself as someone who is learning, growing, and returning. Say quietly, even in your mind, I'm allowed to begin again without punishment. Feel how your body responds to that truth. Notice how your body responds to that signal. That's what rebuilding trust feels like. Safe, steady, and forgiving. Before we close, remember this, family. You don't need to rebuild trust by being perfect. You rebuild it by being present with yourself. Every time you come back, instead of giving up, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. And that relationship is the whole foundation of everything else. That everything else stands on. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with another underdog. And keep spreading the word that underdogs rise, and we rise as a family. In the next episode, I'll be talking to you about how to stay connected to yourself when life gets loud and overwhelming, without disappearing or burning out. Until then, family, be gentle with yourself. You're not starting over. You're just continuing with more wisdom than before. Until then.